was back when I was I'm 52 now.
Yep.
And it's just sort of haunted me all my life because, like, who do you tell?
Yeah, well, historically, you couldn't really tell many people about it without getting laughed at.
Even now, you tell people that because you know what they're stuck in? Because someone in the government says it doesn't exist. Yeah, and they do that to all sorts of reasons, but I'm not saying, and look, all I can say is that you and I would both have to agree today that there's something out there confusing people's minds at the moment. And whether that's Tasmanian tiger or whatever it is, there's something out there that's making people think about it.
I run a group on Facebook with over 8,000 members in it, called the THYLACINE Awareness Group of Australia. And I started that off in late 2014. And I am a firm believer that they're on the mainland as well as Tassie. I've heard one on the mainland. I haven't seen one on the mainland, but I've seen two in Tassie. But I've met dozens and dozens and dozens of witnesses. We've made a documentary about it. We've got a website about it. We've got a YouTube channel. We've been knee deep in this stuff for the first couple of years, and it's just about up to my chin now, mate. So you're talking to someone who is a firm believer here, for the record.
Yeah.
Tell me about your sighting anyway. How long ago was it?
Oh, look, I was only between the age of 12 and 16.
Yep.
I can't remember it exactly because it was such a long time ago, and at the time it was significant, but I just didn't remember. I think I might have been going to high school at the time, you know.
Sure.
First year 7, so I must have been about 13 or something. And my father was the plumber at Wilsons Promontory National Park in Tidal River.
Okay.
All right, so we lived in the park, right, in the national park. We were actually staff that lived in the park.
Yep.
And we were coming back late one night, just before we hit the aerodrome, if you know the prom.
I haven't been as far down as the prom, but I've been along the area to a degree.
Yeah, and anyway, we hit the area, and my dad slowed down because there was 4 of us in the back seat, so he had to fight to get a seat in the back. And then Dad sort of slowed down, he nearly skidded, broke down, skidded, and it sort of made me wake up, sort of get out of the car and have a look, you know.
Yep.
And there it was, large as life, mate, gaping big jaw on it, right, and the stripes along the back with a big with his tail, very distinctive tail on the back. And what I mean by that is that, like, it was just looked very elegant. You know, like, it was just picture perfect to the one out of the book of a Tasmanian tiger.
Did you all get out the car and have a look at it?
Nah, Dad turned around and told us, and I kept saying, no, it's a Tasmanian tiger. He said, nah. Anyway, it took him a good 30 minutes for he turned and said, no, it was only this mangy fox, mate, don't worry about it. Don't ever tell anyone you ever saw it.
So that was basically that fear of
fox.
that fear of ridicule, I suppose. He was trying to talk you out of it.
Yeah, but if you ask him today, he'll still tell you it was a mangy fox.
Yeah, some fellas are like that, mate.
Yeah. So, that's the reason behind it, you know. That's why that memory's always haunted me, because, you know, I'm looking at something I'm not meant to be looking at. And the problem is, it will get better now with modern technology and mobile phones that are so readily available with cameras on them now. Alright? Before, that wasn't around.
Yeah, well, you're talking the 1980's here. You're talking like 82, 83, something like that, yeah?
Yeah, I remember that period of time, yeah, I remember that. But it was just really... Look, I just put a post up on Facebook and then Tracy gave me a call back. But what really surprised me, Neil, was the fact that I was expecting to get 152 hecklers, not 52 people saying that they've seen it.
Yeah. Well, I believe...
That sort of shocked me. I was what? So you mean what I said saying could have been real?
I believe the group where you posted your sighting is one of those sort of regional local area groups for that area, yeah?
Yeah, and look, to be honest, if it was, like I was saying to Tracy, if you were going to find anywhere on the mainland of Australia, anywhere on the mainland of Australia, and someone was to give you $1 million to go and find it, and you take $1 million out of their hand, Wilsons Promontory National Park would be the obvious choice.
Yeah, look.
Because it was connected with Tasmania.
Yeah, just to enlighten you a little bit with all the research that I've done, whereabouts in WA are you roughly?
I'm in Perth at the moment.
Okay. The mainland has got several areas that would fit that bill for the $1 million purse. We've got sightings, hotspots all over mainland Australia, mate. Every state.
It's quite interesting because I didn't know that, but it has on the mainland of Australia before European time. Are there any specimens and museums from the mainland of Australia?
I've got word that there was a couple taken from South Australia in the 1800s and sent back to the UK. I've also, there were 2 very, very fresh looking specimens found in caves on the Nullarbor in the 1960s. One was in South Australia, one was in Western Australia. They're both in the Western Australia Museum. The carbon dating testing on them they did was quite flawed and not conclusive in my view, because they said it was 2,000 years old, but this thing still had an eyeball and maggot casings next to it that were meant to be 2,000 years old. So I think it's fair to say there is a cover-up, and there is probably, specimens that have been found in every state and just been squirreled away by the government so they don't have to deal with it, essentially.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, because I'll be honest with you, I put it on Facebook, I never expected to get that many people writing back.
Yeah, well, it just happens to be that the area where you saw yours is well known in thylacine circles as a real hotspot, from Wilsons Promontory all the way around to Cape Patterson along that coast, and then in the other direction over to Omeo and into New South Wales and right through the Snowies and the Great Dividing Range, mate. There's thousands of sightings, literally thousands. So, to say that the government have never come across any evidence is, it's a bit naive. I think they're full of shit. But anyway, we can't prove that at this point in time. One day we might get lucky. Seeing is believing, my friend. It's that simple.
Yeah, I was just talking to Tracy. Look, I was a young bloke. If I had known more about what I know now, I would have, had it been me now, I would have jumped out of the car, and the first thing I would have done was looking for footprints.
Yeah, well, we've got lots of footprints.
That's the reason being is you can take a cast, mate.
Yeah, I've got plenty of them, buddy. I've got casts from South Australia, Victoria and Tasmania that all match up like a T. Oh, and Queensland as well. They just fit perfectly. So if it's a dingo or a wild dog, it's a bloody big one, and it certainly gets around. That's all I can say. It's got a lot of brothers and sisters around the place. But these prints, the front prints on a thylacine adult male are nearly 5 inches wide. They're about 4.5 inches wide. It's the biggest I've seen. And then that in length is about the same, about 5 inches. It's a big, big print. So.
Just the one I saw wasn't that big. You could have moved as a junior too.
Yeah, it might have been. You just don't know. You saw it, and your memory's probably faded a little bit as far as how big it really was. But
I just remember it was big, mate.
Yeah, and look, they do get quite large. I think the largest one recorded from Tasmania, tip to tip, was about 7 feet.
Jesus.
That's a big animal, Fortunately, they don't hunt people. But they do like to get rather aggressive with kangaroos and wallabies when they get hold of them. They literally rip the heads off them, take the lungs and leave the rest. They don't take any of their other stuff. They just take the bits they want. They're very selective feeders most of the time.
It's just interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I just look. I just know what I saw, and everyone else knows what they see. And it just wasn't anything that I could recognise that was anything else. We could all sit here and we could debate all day what it really was, but we can then agree on one thing. It's just something that's confusing people until we actually get one we can't prove it away.
That's right, mate. Look, there's only one animal in Australia in recent years that's got stripes on its bum, and it looks a bit like a dog, but it's a bit peculiar in parts with a long stiff tail, and that's a thylacine. So But let me tell you, how are you living over in Perth now? Are you?
Yeah.
Well, down the Bustleton, Nannup way, you should make a trip down to Nannup. You'll be surprised when you drive into Nannup and see how much that town has dedicated itself to the thylacine. They call it the Nannup Tiger there. But the pub staff have got stripes on their shirts. There's statues of them in the street. They sell souvenirs. You'd think you're in Tassie.
What's that then, Muscle? What's the name of the place?
Nannup.
No.
Nannup and Bustleton. Bustleton has a lot of sightings, but Nannup is basically a tourist hotspot, and they go there because of the thylacine. So it's
Never heard of it until you mentioned it, but then again, until you're looking, you don't know.
well, that's right. It's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive from Perth, southeast of Perth. So it's a fair old hike. I've been there a couple of times. We launched our documentary there a few years ago. When we launched it, actually, that's where we had the world premiere of sorts.
I must get a copy of it.
Well, it's on our YouTube channel, mate. You can watch it for free. But if you want a DVD, you can order one off of our website for about $20, I think, $25, something like that, and you get a free bumper sticker.
Look, all I can say is I think everyone that's ever seen one had an experience is that you're just sitting there and it just comes back and you go, am I crazy? Do I actually see it? Am I seeing it?
Yeah, and that's what happens to 99% of the people. They just can't believe that they're seeing something that didn't exist. But then you get the other aspect to it, which is foreigners that are here on holiday that have no idea what the animal is and have never even heard of it before, and then they look it up online and tell someone, and that blows everyone away then, because they can't be making it up, basically. You know what I mean? Good talking to you, and
I'll talk to you again, Neil.
all right, no problem. Save my number. Good on you, mate. See ya.